Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. This is Laura Jane. Thanks for joining me today on my stop on the Altenew Rustic Charms video hop. My card for you today features washi tape, die cutting, a little bit of coloring, and some dimensional tape. And it's very easy to duplicate. Let's get started. Now let's take a look at the items that I am using for this card. Starting out, we'll be using the Bold U stamp and die set. Love that large U. This is the Gold Splatter Cosmic Berry Wide Washi Tape. And then the Floral Halos. This is a card that I created using this stamp and die bundle. And then finally, an oldie but goodie, we have String Art Heart Die that we'll be using as an accent. And this is the Mix and Match Frames die set. And here I want to show you the new packaging that Altenew has come up with on their dies, which I think is very clever. So they have put the dies in firm cardstock, and then there's even the number of dies that is in the set. I think that's very clever and wonderful for storage. The color palette I chose to work with today, Tropical Forest, Sweet Dreams, and Red Cosmos. Let's get started on making this card. So I have an A2 size card front. Then I take the washi tape, that Gold Splatter Cosmic Berry. That is a new washi tape, which I just love the color. This is the bone folder to just kind of burnish that washi tape onto the card front. I'm going to trim that off with some scissors. Then I'll be taking the 2 layers of the Mix and Match Frames die set and place that on top of the washi. Kind of just make sure that spacing is even, and then I'm going to secure it with some washi tape. Now this is the new washi tape as well. And here's a card that I made using that as a frame. I'm going to take that to my die cutting machine and die cut those 2 layers of the Mix and Match frames. Cut those all in one pass. And we're just going to be using that outer frame today, using the fine tip tweezers to knock those little circles out of that frame. And I don't like to throw anything away that I think I could possibly use in the future. I think those little dots can make up some pretty shaker card elements, so I just kind of collected those and set them aside. Next, I'm going to be taking the heart, String Art Heart die. Not going to be doing any stitching with string, but I liked the shape and the dots that is created with this die. So I'm placing that into the center of another A2 size card, and then the kind of the ragged edge die from the Mix and Match frames, securing those 2 in place with the washi tape. I wanted to make sure that heart was in the center of that frame set. Then run that through my die cutting machine, and this time I'll be throwing away the outer frame and keeping the piece that has the ragged edge, and then the heart that has little bitty piercings on there. Next, I'm taking the Dewdrops artist marker and using the bullet nib on there, and I am just dotting around that heart where the piercings are. Just another way to stretch your supplies. If you don't want to do any stitching, you can certainly easily add little dots here. Now, when I was finished using the Dewdrops marker, I thought, oh, that might be a little too light in color. So I grabbed a second color in the Sweet Dreams color palette, and I went around the second time, and this is Aqualicious, and I just went over the top of it. I did not do the dots exactly on top, just kind of another layer. I thought it was pretty. And I'll be setting that aside and using the Bold U die set. I have another piece of cardstock that has the golden splatter cosmic berry washi tape on it, and I'm going to run that through the little mini blossom die cutting machine. It's the perfect size for these smaller dies. Just going to run that through, pop out the word die, and then I'll be setting it aside. Next, I'm going to be taking an image, one of the little floral swag images from the Bold U die set, and I am stamping it with the pigment ink. We have Enchanted Gold pigment ink, and this is just on plain white cardstock. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of no line coloring. I like the gold pigment ink, as if any of the lines do show through, it's a little bit of a shimmer. So I'm just going to quickly add some color with the artist markers. This is Frosty Pink, and then next coming in with the Coral Berry, just adding some dots, not really taking too much time here because the image is so small. It's very forgiving as we color. And then this is the Grapevine, and adding the darker color towards the center of that bloom. This is Ruby Red, adding even more color, adding a little bit of shadows on the floral petals. And next I moved on to the greens, just drawing imperfectly here. This is the parrot marker, and I'm literally scribbling on a little bit of color on the leaves. Then coming in with olive, adding a little bit of shadow on the leaves as well as some dots on the vine. Again, I'm not making it perfect, just quickly adding some color and interest. Coming back in with bamboo and kind of blending the colors together just a little bit. And last, this is moss for just some quick dark shadows on a few of the leaves and on the underside of the vine. And now I want to restamp this, adding some non-static powder. I'm going to restamp it so that I can heat emboss with clear embossing powder. Again, this adds just a little bit more dimension and some sparkle, a little touch of glamour to this embellishment. Adding that embossing powder, this is the clear, and heat setting it. Next, I have the coordinating die. I'm trimming this down so I can run it through that mini blossom die cutting machine. Now quickly I am going to stamp a mat for this card, and I'm using another one of the swag images from the Bold U stamp set and inking it up with the gold pigment ink and just going around the very edges. Now, not much of this matting is going to show, so the stamping doesn't have to be perfect, but I like to add this extra dimension of interest around the smaller frame. And now let's assemble the card. Here I'm taking the tape runner adhesive from Altenew, placing it on that large mix and match frame that has the washi tape on it. Just placing that there, and then taking the heart, center one, and putting that inside. That matches perfectly. And this is the Instant Dimension tape roll. This is a trick that I learned from Nina Marie on how to get that dimensional tape so that we can trim it down to kind of, sometimes we need it to be a little bit smaller than when it comes off the roll. So I have release paper and I've placed strips of that tape onto it, and then as I need smaller strips, I just can trim it off easily without that sticking to my scissors. Here I am adding real thin strips to the U and some smaller bits there on the rest of the letters. And if any of that adhesive kind of shows through to the front, it's still very easy to just kind of trim at an angle with the scissors so it's not seen from the front. I'm going to pop that up on the lower side of the heart that we've colored with dots. And next we're going to take that embellishment that we colored up, added some dimensional tape behind the bloom only, and then some glue on the vine, and put that into place. And finally, we're going to stamp the sentiment. And this sentiment comes from the Floral Halos. Put that into place, popped it into the Misty, and stamped it with Aqualicious. I'm going to stamp that twice to get good bold coverage there. And there's the finished card. Now let's take a look at my original card, and the two look a little bit similar. You can see the first one, I used the lighter markers on the dotted heart. And this is what I had done with the center of that washi tape panel. I practiced some stitching with that heart, and so I'll use that on another project. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed watching this card come together. This is part of the Rustic Charms video hop with Altenew, so make sure you leave a comment below and hop to the next inspirational designer, which I have in the description box below. We'll see you next time. Remember to craft your life with Altenew. Bye.